Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. I already told you, it's just a storage room for employees. I don't understand why it's so important to you. Just let it go, officer. Go buy some goddamn books. You're supposed to be drawn to the books. It's just for decoration. Okay, fine. It's just because this place is cursed, just like everyone said. They don't call it the doomed commercial area for nothing. Are you happy now, officer? Happy that you've ruined everything?
Take it easy. You've broken her resistance. Pushing her further will gain nothing.
Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building, even though now I fear it's not enough. Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's guaranteed to boost sales 15%.
Desert pygmy shamans. That sounds like a rather questionable way to describe a group of people.
The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy.
Didn't that curtain just move?
But officer, there's nothing natural about entire companies declaring bankruptcy. I'm talking about cacodemons feeding off bad business practices and disappointing income statements. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here.
Sounds familiar.
Truly so? Perhaps the dark energies are leeching off you. You shouldn't stay in the store too long. It may be dangerous. It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous. Talking about the void.
Wow. Void raves. You have new words.
Most certainly not. I don't want anyone who's not familiar with the psychic arts to get involved in this mess. Stay away. Leave the spirits be, so they can return to their slumber.
My liege, you know what this case calls for? A para-detective. Time to fire up the old lie machine.
And I am his private partner, John Shaw. Together we run the preeminent postal surveillance firm in Revachol.
Shao is what the Saolite Empire was called in the Occident, back when far less was known about the people. It was a barbarian other, ever so mystical, on whom you could project any kind of exotic fantasy. The legend of it persists, and a lot of people still think the Shao is a thing.
Once we've caught our client's spouse in flagrante delicto, we blackmail them and pocket the money ourselves, because that's what private investigators do. Now, I see that you are a married woman.
Some penetrating sarcasm from your colleague there.
What nonsense are you two going on about? This is not relevant at all. And besides, my husband would never do such a thing. We are proper people. This is preposterous, a waste of my time, and of no help to anyone.
Our sincere apologies, ma'am. No more nonsense. We are offering to assist you with your troubles, pro bono. That's right. When not spying on the love affairs of the ultra-rich, we solve unusual mysteries by the low reload.
Oh my God! Will you stop with that incessant yammering? It's too much. If you wanted the key to the back door, you could have just asked for it. Absolutely not. Okay, but please, only a few...
The woman before you. The plaque on the shelf reads, Biographies of Famous People. You see a large variety of names, none of which ring a bell.
I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool, delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power.
Shelves full of biographies of famous people. Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinaise. The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. La Delta says a great artificial heart in the center, teeming with life forms and construction. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella Marie, the suburbs of Saint-Baptiste, swallowed up into the megacity. They sound rich to you. This is Revachol East. Hudon. It's somewhere to live. Not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's bad. People shouldn't live there, but they do. Then Forburg. It's almost as bad, and much larger. Then Coal City. It's the worst. It's so small you can't even see it on the map. No, wait. There it is, north of Jamrock, the strip of coast next to the Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour. It looks downright despondent. It's almost Coal City, to be honest. No, Coal City is worse. A charred limb. Rain falls on its slick black streets. And then there's the burnt-out quarter in the heart of Jamrock. Is it cold in this bookstore? Or is it just you? No, this is somewhere to be. This is all you have. But it's still something. Streets and sodium lights, the sky, the world. You're still alive.
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinaise is the only one available. The other two are not for sale anymore. And besides, you could scarcely afford them. They're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinaise is 90 cents, though. That old thing? It's an out-of-date map of a tourist location that never was nor came to be. From when some design studio people tried to spruce the place up 4 or 5 years ago. They also renovated the horse statue, set up those coin-operated viewers, and designed the new street lamps.
The place does not look like a successful tourist trap, does it?
They didn't get that far, for some reason. A shame the project never got going. Would be nice if someone fixed Martinaise up. All these ruins are bad for business. Always good to be informed of your surroundings.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Raubritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children.
Who are you going to play board games with? Do you have friends or family? Are you actually friends? Or just colleagues thrown together by circumstance?
friends are technically like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 rial.
Yes? Hello? Me? No one. I'm just a working class woman.
She doesn't really want to be disturbed that much. If she's such a working class woman, why isn't she working?
Not all the time. Right now I'm browsing books. Even a working class woman needs something to read. It is. I know you are.
Everyone can see that. The rectangles.
Mm-hmm. What with?
This citizen thinks she can do without your assistance. Don't buy it. They all need help. Her hands move over the book covers. The tips of her fingers look rough, stained with yellow. It seems like she has spent a lot of time at work, smoking.
My husband? No, he's not. I don't know. At home now? Out drinking with his friends? Working?
Where is this going, officer?
She gives you a short nod and shifts her attention back to books. The woman before you nods and returns to her reading. Son, you've really let yourself go. It's a disgrace. But Coach Physical Instrument is going to get you back in prime condition, even if it takes 1,000,000 push-ups. Does a master swordsman insult his own blade? No. I'm going to turn you into an athletic benchmark, you big pussy.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabinier do for you? Yes, the Debardeurs Union pays me to stand vigil during the night. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight.
He feels like he has to justify himself for some reason.
She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse to discuss my private affairs with the RCM.
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last Monday. No one. The bus has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday.
Yes! It's not actually an issue. I mean...
Look, officer. The container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before, René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabinier's pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words.
It's not charity. Not to me. Up there, I give it all I got. I earned my keep. But you're right, officer. There is no middle ground. It's do or die. Yes, like I said, it would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp. Ah, yes! King Philip III, on his steed. A reminder of what Revachol once was.
Oh, absolutely. At the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold.
A superpower, feared and respected. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule. Decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood. Revachol would be a different place if more people realized that. We could still be the...
Don't get started on that again. What happened, happened.
The Carabinier doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable resolve.
Oh, old Philip was a big fan of the purple nose candy the nobility loved so much. A cocaine connoisseur of sorts. His egocentricity is borderline legendary.
You can't even take responsibility for yourself. How could you fathom the responsibility weighing on the shoulders of a ruler? That's why the Philippian kings use cocaine, for clarity of vision, to aid in their work. Regnum cocainum, Revachol's finest years.
Of course. Clarity of vision. Awareness.
Philip III was even brought into this world with the help of cocaine. The court made him administer the dose to his mother when she was in labor, and it is well known that with the help of cocaine, only the purest, of course, he was able to connect with higher realms.
Higher realms. Of course. It all makes sense. He's just making excuses for the king's habits, isn't he?
From what I've seen of the officers of the RCM... But I don't want to get into a debate about drug policies. Right.
It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota. Lower intestine? The term is metabolic and circulatory system. Fascism, Brota. Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachol's problems? Quit stalling, Bruta. We're talking about the weakest, worst, most insane thing. The weak link. Yes, them, but also Wermen. Wermen, men of Wer. You don't like them. They're insane. Their idiocy needs to be scrubbed off this world with rubbing alcohol. Woo men need to go back to the fucking kitchen. That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. But the main thing is that woo men need to know their place. Stomach truth. You're having a stomach truth. Because you've said the hard things that others won't say. The good things, you've said them many times. Okay, yes, let's call it that. Good thinking. That sounds much better. Traditionalism. You like the sound of that. You're going to keep your vooz, right? Keep your vooz, Brota. There's a slow, painful growl somewhere in your intestines, knocking on your alcohol-engorged liver. It is one of betrayal and disappointment. All around you, rain falls on the great city of Revachol. Rain drips from the eaves and floods the gutters, washing the filth away. The spring thaw must be here. The snow is melting. Looking up at the sky, cold water dripping from your hair. Grey sky like great battleships, clouds colliding with one another. Rain falls down on the world. Humid, your coat shields you from the rain while the city shivers around you. Sheets of rain over the water, a flight of stairs leading into the ocean. Wave after wave washing the coast of Martinaise, with its motorboats and gently swaying reeds. The ruins of a half-sunken sea fort crumble on an inlet beyond the Bay of Revachol. Ghosts rise into the sky. Your hair is an oily mess flecked with ash from neighboring coal plants. Smokestacks rise somewhere in the distance. The great gates of the industrial harbor are locked. A chill runs down your back. You shudder like an animal trying to shake water from its hide. You shudder looking down at your feet. Dirty rainwater runs veins into the plaza's snow. Two green snakeskin shoes stand at attention on the mosaic paving of the plaza. Capeside apartments. Tower blocks crowd one another. 4.46mm bullets still lodged in their war-torn stone walls. Hallways collapse from the mortar hits of a war that was lost long ago. Clotheslines go to waste in the rain. Radios play. The morning news. A yard. Rain falls onto the roof of a woodshed. The lingering odor of decomposition mixes with that of damp soil. A traffic jam. Rain thrumming on the roofs of motor vehicles. Inside, drivers watch water streaming down their windshields. The statue of a king shudders. He too is cold. The canal bridge has been raised. The road ascends. A raised motorway loops above the ghetto. Beneath its concrete columns, a sea of rooftops, woodwork, and tar stretches northward. 4-story buildings as far as the rain can fall. The snows melt in Jamrock.
Have a brother in the cut. Where the wood at?
To be in Martinaise, where no one goes, at the runoff point of a long-forgotten canal, in the whitest part of town, in the shadow of the day the revolution failed, standing in the rain, looking north, where Jamrock Rock City stretches inland. In the rain-swept distance, above the rooftops of Jamrock, a repurposed silk mill stands perched above the motorway exit. Precinct 41 hunches in the rain. Your vision blurs. You wipe your face with your hand. The rain stings your eyes, making you look up and blink. Coalition aerostatics hang like apparitions under the cloud cover. Way up there, where rain forms, rotors flutter silently. Your sight clears. Collapsed storm drains, old sewage systems flooded with rainwater. Hidden weapon caches from the revolution. Doors leading down to Le Royaume. The catacombs to which, for 3 centuries, they delivered the blue-blooded dead.
This rain will not let up anytime soon. At least we are dressed for it. Let's keep moving.
Hello again, sir. That's Auntie Billy. She's nice if a bit distressed. I think she is a bad husband. Not very nice or helpful.
No, absolutely not. Are you a policeman or a nanny? They are not missing, sir.
You know where they are. They're at home, smoking, giving the ladder of vices a chance. What if something horrible has happened? What if they're dead? That's the bad vibe you got before.
What? That's just... My daughters are perfectly fine. They're with their friends down in Shamrock. There's nothing to worry about. They're almost grown up now anyway. They're past the age they need me protecting them from everything now. My youngest girl, Jolie, is just shy of 16. Jenny, she is turning 18 next month. But we shouldn't even be talking about them. Why do you need to know this? Haven't I repeatedly told you that they're not missing? That they're in Shamrock, safe and well, at some stupid party? There is no investigation here. I can tell you that. I don't mean to disrespect, sir, but you are being a bit of a cockatoo here.
For what it's worth, I agree. But cockatoos can't be stopped when they get ladies. It's better to indulge him at this point.
I don't even have a cockatoo. And guess what?
It's a trap. Never ever say what.
Great. Nothing. Go.
Maybe you should. What if the cockatoo is your astral captain? Or your heraldic bird?
Wonderful. The store is open.
The woman before you nods and returns to her reading.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, a book about cockatoos. There should be one upstairs, right next to the shelf of biographies.
These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. Shelves full of biographies of a sulfur-crested cockatoo sits on the cover, its beak slightly open. It looks as if the bird is calling out the book title, From A to Zurich, a guide to a well-behaved cockatoo. Turns out that there are so many different cockatoo species, and they all have behavioral problems.
It's a must-have if you own a cockatoo. I've heard they're quite capricious. Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
Just an ordinary wall, nothing to see here. This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says number 11. It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make short work of it. Better whip out those cutters. You won't get very far otherwise. No reply. This door has been closed with a padlock. What are you doing?
I believe it's the shackle you mean to cut, Detective.
He's just trying to help. Don't take it bad.
Perhaps you should give it another go.
The shackle snaps like a twig, and the lock falls to the floor with a little thud. It should be possible to enter now.
After you, Detective.
A plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with impressive sideburns. The name on the plinth reads Karamazov. Karamazov, nom de guerre, was an economist and a theoretical historian. He was a leading figure in the Grad side of the turn-of-the-century revolution, where he headed the 9-day government. Mazov is considered the father of scientific communism, Mazovian thought, or Mazovianism.
He was definitely controversial. The tenant here seems to like him. There aren't many communists around, not after the revolution. Some youth still keep the ideology going, it seems. The White Star, the photos on the wall. I think we have broken into the apartment of a young communard. How fitting.
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the panel says 10. The walking stops abruptly, but no one comes to the door. You can feel tension on the other side. A poor communard, from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated to open the door if you don't have a warrant.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside that apartment.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally any reason.
Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. Go ahead, then. What do you want to know, policeman?
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
Oh, you'll find plenty of Martins here. Don't you worry. Pea-brain. Someone played a trick on you. Martinez is a name for anyone who comes from Martinez, like Tim Jamrock or Raoul Ravachol.
I thought it was obvious. Anyway, officer, we don't have the witness's name.
I'm no one. If you can call it living. I have a little room upstairs right next to the coal room. It's barely bigger than a closet, but I don't complain, no. I have my bed and my aching bones to keep me company, And that's all I need from this world.
And all she gets, too. The coastal wind beats down hard on the cold room door outside. Splashes of waves make the balcony slippery. She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while. Even her sentences feel rusty.
Yes, yes. I know who you mean. The scrawny boy who's always smoking like the devil, right?
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying. You hear a radio tuned to a talk show and someone taking a shower.
What's he in trouble for? Talk?
What was so funny about that?
He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony. It's one of those doors there. He's usually home in the evening.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony. See if he's home.
A shift in temperature. The air chills around you. Dust settles on the stony floor. A former architect stands before a slice of window, a room plan in her hand. A cold wave has made the air in the building stand still and frozen, with temperatures falling down to minus 20 degrees Celsius. Is red from the cold. She's breathing on her fingers, clasping the plan. Traces of sadness are visible in her expression. Faint pencil lines on paper depict the same place, but a missing eastern wall connects the room with the neighboring apartment. Ideas for arranging the furniture have been jotted down. It's clean and empty, with new tapestry embellishing the walls. A standard HB graphite pencil has fallen off a three-legged stool in the middle of the room. She had an eye for beauty.
The piggies have learned how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with hooves. But here you are. Yeah, I can see that. Cool mutations.
That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint, it's heavy fuel oil.
Red-dyed heavy fuel oil, intended for exclusive use in government vehicles, to be precise.
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself. Back in Jamrock.
She really did it. She's proud of it too.
You ain't seen nothing yet, Piggy Boo.
The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinez, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner. Your finger moves through the various streets. Across Rue de Saint-Ghislain, and Rue Saint-Sipar, over Saint-Brun, and Martinez North, finally coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing, although the map gives no such indication itself.
For a more detailed view of the map, go to your journal and select the Map tab.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? Ooh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner. It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never happens. Does anyone in a city like this?
If there's pain about any particular home she's lost, she's buried it deep, fortified herself against it.
Shoot, Piggy.
Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once grand history of this building. It towered over the harbor until it happened. A great force from the northeast fired into the city. Heavy artillery shelled the coastline, fired from the water, a straight shot into Revachol. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling until it was destroyed, and they had a direct firing line. The waves of the Martinez Inlet rolled over the fallen remains of the building. The dark waters obscured the better part of the remains. What didn't fall into the ocean was used as scrap. What wasn't used as scrap was thrown into the ocean. Those arches acted as support for something greater than what you see now. Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. Restoration has failed. What the shelling took out was never rebuilt. Underwater, iron helmets have sunk deep into the sand and the mud. Helmets of soldiers, and their finger bones too, and clavicles, littering the ocean floor. A fleet, the combined armies of Occident and Grad, with Mesk volunteers, a 5-nation army, hundreds of vessels. They massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. The artillery was so powerful. The ships not only required gyroscopic stabilization, they were anchored into the ocean floor as well. Many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water, far in the northeast. Cannons still ready to placate Revachol.
The coalition, but that was a long time ago. I think we should move on. It's chilly up here.
He does not like talking politics of this kind. pockets of these new jeans are perfect for sticking your hand into. Makes you look cool, calm, and collected. As your hand enters the pocket, your fingers brush against something, soft yet crinkly. Hey, it's a chewing gum wrapper. It reminds you of the fruity juice of apricots. You should inspect it closer if you have time. Something about the wrapper's texture is familiar. By the way, the raw materials were most likely exported from seaside, the apricot suzerainty, and processed in sur-le-clay into the apricot-flavored chewing gum loved by kids of today and yesterday. Something about it is familiar, and not only to your fingers. A crinkled chewing gum wrapper. The worn label reads, Tutti Frutti. It smells faintly of apricots with a barely noticeable twinge of cinnamon. You feel compelled to point out that there's nothing fruity about cinnamon. It's a spice derived from tree bark. Can a used wrapper shrug? Seems like that's what the wrapper is doing somehow. This is not about flowers or bark. What is this about? Why are you looking at this wrapper? Good question. There is no answer or secret phrase written on the inside of the wrapper. Yet you're drawn to it, drawn by regret. Stop before you hurt yourself with a Tutti Frutti wrapper. Throw it away, please. You carefully fold the wrapper into a square before putting it back into your pocket, lovingly even, despite the strange feeling of regret.
That's probably the door Efrat mentioned. We still need to get the key from this manana first, though. This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives. Let's see if anyone's home.
No one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in the evening. We should return tonight after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good? Tonight at 9 p.m., right here, apartment number 28. Good.
There. Working class drunk. You know what this means, right? Cracked it. All in a good day's work. What do you mean, what did I crack? Look at how working class that drunk is. Yes, and you found him. Now go and tell the working class woman. Protect and serve, recruit. Didn't she repeatedly tell you her husband isn't missing though? But he is missing. You heard her, the worry in her voice. Do marriages make any sense? Does honor? You're not a filthy philosopher. There's no need for champagne when there's honor, recruit.
God damn it, I already told you. My husband isn't missing. Very well then. Where is he? Excuse me?
There's something else hiding in her voice though. A trace of worry.
Right, 'cause working class women come with alcoholic husbands.
Remember, about that what. Never ever say what.
You were right. I do have an alcoholic husband. Although not that one. No, he's not. Or maybe he is, I don't know. He's probably in the park or in Shamrock somewhere, drinking with his friends. I haven't seen him for... Well, to hell with him.
There. She's worried now. She sighs, but you can detect a slight hint of gratitude and relief from her face.
All right, go ahead. Do you have any questions? Honestly, not that different from you. That's one way to put it, yes. No offense. I'd also add he's a little bit chubby. What else? He was wearing a dark brown leather jacket with a bright blue inner lining. It's his cool jacket. God knows it's too cold to run around in this, but he refuses to change. I even tried throwing it away once, but he just dug it out of the bin. Can you believe it? Well, what can you do? I hope that at least that extra lining helps him keep warm at night. I wouldn't like him to catch cold.
She's thinking about him out in the cold, in some park, or on the coast. And it's making her more and more worried.
Yesterday morning, he went to the library. He went to retrieve my book, and he promised he'd walk straight back home. Because we talked about this. We talked about not wandering off again. I don't know what to do. I honestly don't know what to do with his addiction. Just makes me feel weak.
Gone for around 36 hours then. Damn, this is a missing persons case. She turns away from you in an attempt to recover.
So you are going to look for him?
She genuinely wants you to now. Don't make her ask.
Thank you. Please do. Even though I'm sure he will return home by himself. I'm still sure of that.
She tries to maintain a brave front, even though her eyes reveal the opposite.
I'm sure he will too. When he does, would you let Precinct 57, Kim Kitsuragi, know?
I will. Of course, officer. As I said, it's probably nothing.